Are you thinking of buying a condo, but all of the terminology surrounding the status certificate is leaving you wondering what all of those documents really consist of? And are you left wondering if it's absolutely necessary that you have your lawyer review your status certificate? Well, in this video, I'm going to be discussing about the reserve fund study, which is a document that accompanies the status certificate. And I'm going to be answering that age-old question as to whether it's absolutely necessary to have your lawyer review that status certificate after all. If we haven't met yet, my name is Michelle Marie Glasgow from the award-winning team Elm & Oak Real Estate, where my sisters and I specialize in helping first-time homeowners like yourself purchase their first property, and also others that are looking to invest and grow their wealth through real estate. With my experience working as a real estate law clerk for many years, I have extensive background, knowledge, and experience working with status certificates. The status certificate itself is only a few pages long, which is often accompanied by other documents concerning the condo, such as the condo fire insurance binder, the condo's financial documents, including the reserve fund study, and also the condo declaration, which includes the bylaws, rules, and regulations of the condo. So what is the reserve fund study anyways? Well, a reserve fund study is a study that's conducted every 3 years by a specialist that takes a look at the funds that are in the condo's reserve and determines whether or not it is sufficient to cover all of the repairs and upgrades that may be needed for the condo within that time period. The study will include estimates as to when the repair or replacement will be required, estimates of the amount of expenditures for each year, any assumptions that the specialist has, and recommended increase in the reserve fund contribution for the next 3 years. So where does the money for the reserve fund come from? Each unit holder contributes to the reserve fund through their common expenses. Based on the findings of the reserve fund study, common expenses may need to be increased if the reserve fund is running low. The reserve fund balance will fluctuate from year to year. In some years, the reserve fund may be very high. After planned expenditures for major projects drive the reserve fund balance low, it will need to be replenished. However, this is usually forecasted in the reserve fund study and is often not something to be concerned about. The importance of the reserve fund study is this. If a reserve fund is not adequately maintained and there are not enough funds in the reserve fund to cover any major repairs or upgrades that are needed for the condo, the corporation will be forced to find the funds in other ways, such as possibly placing a lien on every unit to cover the cost, and/or they may need to raise the cost for common expenses. So let's finally answer that question. Do you really need a lawyer to look over your status certificate? Well, it's not compulsory. However, it is definitely very advisable. As discussed earlier, not having enough funds in a reserve fund can definitely have major unexpected ramifications for you as a condo owner. And it can even affect the resaleability of your unit. So this is definitely not something that should be left by chance. And you would definitely want to have a professional review these documents to ensure that everything is in order to protect your interests as a condo owner. There is so much more to be said about what you need to be aware of when it comes onto the status certificate and more specifically the reserve fund. But in the interest of time, I may need to do a part 2, so definitely stay tuned for that. Now that you learned a little bit more about the reserve fund, you may be interested to learn more about the condo documents that are included with your status certificate. In the next video, we will continue to discuss some information about condos that will definitely be essential to you as a future or current condo owner. If you are thinking about purchasing a condo but trying to understand everything that goes along with being a condo owner is having you feeling a little bit overwhelmed, definitely give us a call and let us get you into your next condo.